The old saying, tee it high and watch it fly, might well work for some people, but not others. In today's video, we're going to look at the correct tee height that can help you hit longer drives, hit more fairways, and ultimately get good at golf. Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson. Welcome back to the channel. If you want to do just that and get good at golf, make sure you take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our daily uploads. So what happens if you tee the ball nice and low? Because not everyone should be teeing the ball the same height. It totally depends on yourself. It depends on what ball flight you want, what driver you're using, and what characteristics you have within your impact factors that would decide how you hit the golf ball. So you can see here that I've got a really low ball on the tee for the first shot. Now, what would you start to see here if you teed this ball too low? Because generally what you're going to start to see is a ball that comes low on the face, and that's going to result in lower ball speed and a higher spin rate. So that's not ideal. Towards the back end of this video, we are going to talk ideology. We're going to talk what is the kind of perfect method for you generally, depending on how you hit the golf ball. So if I hit you a shot now off a low tee, you'll see that generally I have to stand a little bit closer to it. I'm not going to stand as wide because I don't feel like I can truly get the low point where I want it to. The low point in a driver wants to be just before the ball pre-impact. So if I were to get this ball going, I would almost have to hit down on it ever so slightly. So it's come out nice and low. I've managed to control the club face, and that's just fading up the middle of the fairway. You'll see I actually took a little bit of a divot there, not a big one, but quite a bit of turf interaction. Now that's not what we want with driver. We don't want to be touching the ground with this driver at all. We want as much speed as we can. We want the perfect impact factors and we want the perfect launch conditions. So here we have what I think is the perfect tee height for most golfers. Remember, this might change depending on what driver you use and how you want to hit the ball, but generally this allows me to get the ball nice and forward. I can stand nice and wide and I can take the club away nice and low to the ground. From here we speak low point again, and I want to be able to get my weight onto the left side. My sternum stays back and that low point is pre-impact. The driver's travelling on its way up, then the ball should come out of the middle of that club face. It comes out of the middle, we're going to get more ball speed, we're going to get a better spin rate, hopefully between 2,000, 2,500, and it should launch in a nice window. The third ball that I've got here is too high. So what happens when you tee the ball up too high? This can get quite expensive, especially with a £500 Callaway Paradigm Triple Diamond driver. You don't want to be that guy, because all of a sudden you start to see people who think, right, if you're a long drive driver, then absolutely tee the ball as high as you can get your momentum going, you can load up and you can really hit it, get that sternum back, get the club turning over. But if you're not training to be a long drive driver and you're not hitting it massively on the up, generally you will start to see a couple of sky marks on your driver, especially if you come across the ball ever so slightly. If you struggle with a bit of a slice, that's when you see people who hit overly down on the ball. If you're hitting down on a ball that's teed up too high, I'm not going to do it because I like my driver too much, but that's certainly not where you want to be, especially if you're using someone else's driver as well. Dave. We know, Dave, we know. But back to the positives. If I have the ball teed up correctly, you should see a different ball flight to the first shot that we played, because the ball's a bit further forward in the stand, so I can get the low point a little bit behind, as we said. And you can see there, very similar drive, just probably twice as high, same fade, same shape, more ball speed, a little bit better spin rate, and for me that's going to help me hit much better, longer and straighter drives just by teeing the ball that bit better. So guys, Chris is now going to give us the perfect tee height for you to help you hit longer drives.
Right guys, so obviously James mentioned that I'm going to give you the perfect tee height, and it's very personal, so you have to think about what kind of impact factors you have. Do you hit down on the golf ball? Do you hit up on the golf ball? And a lot of times you're told, yes, you have to hit up on it, but it depends what you do, because you might say, right, well, I've been told to tee it high because that's going to help me hit up on the golf ball. We could still make a motion, I can have it as high as I want, and like James mentions a lot of times, if we still come over the top, we're still hitting down on that. And if you're having lessons or you want to find out what the best tee height for you would be, one option is getting some foot spray, a very random thing that you can spray on your face and start to see where your strike is. Or on a day like this, we can maybe see that there's a bit of mud on the ball, we can start to see where your strike pattern is, and we can start to think...
There should never be mud on the ball on a tee, should they?
There should never be mud on the ball on a tee. It should be nice and clean, but obviously James hasn't cleaned his balls.
I need your foot spray.
Unbelievable. So guys, if you can see the ball stuck really high on the face, then you want to think, oh, maybe I need to tee that down a little bit. So if you go to the driving range, we know that you've always got the different heighted tees. Get in there, start to think, right, even if you put a little bit of moisture on the face, if you put a bit of water on that, you're going to see your strike pattern and see which will be best for you. For me, I don't hit too far up on the golf ball. I'm pretty level with my angle of attack, so I don't want something that's too high because I would be hitting it high on the face and I'd be losing a lot of distance. So I'm going to have it where maybe there's a quarter of the ball above the head of the driver. We've not got half the ball, which everybody tells you to do, and this is because of my angle of attack. So you need to go onto a driving range, start to play around with the different tee heights, start to see where the strike pattern is to give you the exact tee. And if you use castle tees, then that might get you into a yellow castle tee, it might get you into a white castle tee, it might be a pink castle tee, or the elusive grey or orange castle tee. But I've got that. It is. You don't see them as much these days. They're like, who knows which one you're supposed to have. But you can start to test this out, guys, and once you've got that, you can commit to your drives, hit longer drives, hit straighter drives, and get good at golf.